everyone, I'm Gemma.
And I'm Tan, and welcome to our channel.
Today we're diving into the understanding of how we can get stuck in a vicious cycle of low mood and how we can use an intervention called behavioural activation to break that cycle.
So before we get started, a little bit about ourselves. I'm a mental health nurse.
And I'm a cognitive behavioural therapist.
So in this video, we're going to share with you some practical tips for day-to-day life that can help us break that low mood cycle.
So let's get started.
So let's talk about what actually happens when we're feeling low. It's common to want to pull back, do less and retreat. It's our way of trying to cope with those tough emotions.
And that's totally normal, but here's the tricky part. When we cut back on activities for too long, it can actually make us feel worse.
Exactly, and the less we do, the lower we feel, and before we know it, we're stuck in this negative cycle of feeling low, so we do less, and then when we do less, we feel worse. It can feel impossible to break free.
So how do we break out of this cycle? Well, that's where a useful technique called behavioural activation, or BA for short, comes in.
BA is a strategy used in cognitive behavioural therapy, and it's all about helping you gradually bring meaningful activity back into your life.
So the goal is to help break that low mood cycle by taking small, manageable steps towards re-engaging with the things that matter to you.
So if you're feeling low or overwhelmed, the idea of reintroducing activities can feel really overwhelming, and that's completely normal.
So with behavioural activation, the idea is we're going to build that up step by step, reintroducing activities that are small and manageable and realistic.
So by doing this, we're not only reintroducing activity, but we're also creating opportunities for a positive experience, which are things that can boost your mood and help us feel a sense of accomplishment again.
The first step in behavioural activation is getting a clearer picture of what your week looks like right now. So this means becoming aware of your baseline activities, what you're currently doing on a daily basis.
So to do this, grab a blank diary and start filling it in. Write down everything, and we mean everything, whether you're staying in bed, watching TV, or even when it feels like you're doing absolutely nothing. It's all important to include.
Once you've done this, you'll start to notice patterns, and then from there we can start rebuilding and making changes that feel manageable and meaningful. Now let's take a moment to look at your diary. What's standing out to you? Are you mainly doing things you have to do, like the school run or cleaning the house, but there's nothing on there that you actually enjoy?
Or maybe you're noticing that you're avoiding things you really need to do, like cleaning or paying bills.
One more thing, let's take a look at your routine. Does it feel like there's a structure to your day, or is it all over the place?
Identifying these patterns is the first step towards making some small changes that can really help improve how you're feeling. So now it's time to start making changes, but remember, this isn't about perfection. It's about slowly rebuilding and adapting based on what's going on for you. Everyone moves at their own pace, and that's perfectly okay.
The next step is to make a list of activities you'd like to start reintroducing. This could be things like making time to relax, reading a book, going for a walk, or maybe paying a bill that you've been avoiding. Whatever feels right for you.
So write down those activities and then choose a couple to schedule into your upcoming week. But here's the key, keep it realistic. The goal is to start slow and rebuild one step at a time.
And remember, this is a bit of a trial and error process, so every week take some time to review your diary and ask yourself, what went well, what did you learn, what can you keep doing, and if something didn't work, that's okay, can you tweak it for next time? A great tip is to break activities down into smaller, more manageable steps. So for example, instead of scheduling something big like cleaning the house, which can feel quite overwhelming, break it down into smaller tasks that feel more realistic.
So instead of tackling everything all at once, we might schedule something like hoover downstairs on a Thursday afternoon, and then on Friday morning we might hoover upstairs.
This way the task feels less daunting and more achievable, and you're still making progress without the pressure of doing it all in one go.
So another helpful tip is the 10-minute rule, and here's how it works. Commit to doing the scheduled activity for just 10 minutes.
The idea is that it makes the task feel less daunting. So you're not thinking about hours of work, you're just thinking about 10 minutes. And what often happens is that once you get started, you might end up doing more than 10 minutes.
But even if you don't, there's no pressure. The point is to take that first small step, and once you do, it feels easier to keep going.
So remember, using the CBT cycle, we can change how we feel by changing what we do. Behavioural activation helps us stop being so mood dependent, meaning we don't wait until we feel like it to do something. Instead, we become more goal dependent, where we do things because we've set realistic goals for ourselves.
And when we do this, it boosts our motivation and helps break that negative cycle that we've been stuck in.
However, it's not always easy, so be kind to yourself during the process. Treat it as a bit of trial and error until you find what works for you.
So we've tried some different productivity apps and shared our current setup on how we like to keep up to date with day-to-day life.
So if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing, and we'd love to hear your thoughts and comments below.
Thanks for watching.